2433. Making a wet preparation. Directly after the ejaculate has been properly mixed, remove an appropriate volume, allowing no time for the spermatozoa to settle out of suspension. Always remix the semen sample before removing replicate liquids. Replicate motility assessments must be made on 2 different, freshly prepared wet preparations. 1. Place a 10 microcyanal well-mixed liquid onto a clean microscope slide that preferably is pre-warmed to 37 degrees Celsius, for example in the sample incubator. Take care to avoid the formation and trapping of air bubbles between the cover slip and the slide. 2. Place a 22 mm x 22 mm cover slip by dropping it carefully horizontally over the drop. The weight of the cover slip spreads the sample, so use a 1 1/2 weight cover slip. 3. Assess the freshly made wet preparation as soon as the contents are no longer drifting. If flow has not ceased within 1 minute after application of the cover slip, a new wet preparation must be made. 24.4 Assessment under the microscope. A light microscope equipped with phase contrast optics is necessary for all examinations of unstained preparations of fresh semen. 24.4.1 Closing parenthesis. Low magnification and initial microscopic examination of the ejaculate liquid involves scanning the preparation at a total magnification of ×100, a combination of a ×10 objective lens with a ×10 ocular. This provides an overview of the sample, to reveal if spermatozoa are evenly distributed in the preparation, any visible mucus strands, and sperm aggregation or agglutination. In case of uneven distribution, the reason could be insufficient mixing, high viscosity, insufficient liquefaction, sperm clumping. 2442. High magnification The preparation should then be assessed at ×200 or ×400 total magnification combination of a ×20 or a ×40 objective with a ×10 ocular. This permits assessment of sperm motility, determination of the dilution required for accurate assessment of sperm number, determination of the presence of round cells that requires further assessment, determination of the presence of cells other than spermatozoa, for example epithelial cells or round cells, leukocytes and immature germ cells. 24.4.3 Estimating appropriate dilution for sperm counting. The dilution of the ejaculate required to allow sperm concentration to be measured accurately is estimated from the number of spermatozoa observed in an entire high magnification microscopic field. At least 50 microcyanal of well-mixed ejaculate should be used, and the total volume of sperm suspension should be at least 200 microcyanal. If no spermatozoa are observed, examine the replicate wet preparation. If no spermatozoa are found in the second preparation, proceed as in section 2.4.8.8 on page 35. Table 2.1 has been developed to ensure the use of sufficient volumes of ejaculates and obtain final volumes of diluted sperm suspensions for adequate handling. 2.4.4.4 Fixative for diluting ejaculate liquids. Prepare, for example, 1 liter of an aqueous solution containing 0.595 m sodium bicarbonate and approximately 0.14 m formalin. Any liquid solution of formaldehyde is called formalin. The final concentration of formalin is 1/10 of that used in pathology and cytology laboratories. Compared to the situation in such laboratories, the evaporation of formalin from counting chamber preparations is extremely low. Local regulations on handling of formalin must be followed, but handling in ventilation hoods is likely to be compulsory only for the preparation of the low-concentration stock solution. 1. Dissolve 50 grams of sodium bicarbonate NaCO3 in about 500 milliliters of distilled water, add 10 milliliters of 36-40% formaldehyde solution and add water up to 1000 milliliters final volume. 2. If desired, add 0.25 grams of trypan blue, color index 23859, or 5 milliliters of saturated, greater than 4 milligrams/milliliters, gentian violet, color index 42555, to highlight the sperm heads and facilitate proper loading of the counting chambers. 3. Store at 2-8 degrees Celsius for up to 12 months. If crystals form in the solution, Pass it through 0.45 microcym filter before use. 2445. Dilution. For the assessment of sperm number, dilution with a fixative is necessary to immobilize spermatozoa modal. Spermatozoa are much easier to count accurately than modal spermatozoa. Dilution is also important to create a specimen that is more aqueous for more reliable loading into the hemocytometer. At least 50 microcyle semen should be mixed with the diluent solution to ensure reliable, representative and sufficient suspension volume for thorough sample mixing. Vortexing is possible after loading into the hemocytometer. At least 50 microcyle semen should be mixed with the diluent solution to ensure reliable representativity and sufficient suspension volume for thorough sample mixing. Vortexing is possible after fixation. The appropriate dilution is estimated at the initial microscopic examination. 1. Use an air displacement pipette to dispense the appropriate amount of fixative into 2 dilution vials. 2. Mix the semen sample carefully without making bubbles. 3. Use a positive displacement pipette to take an exact volume of semen for dilution. 4. Wipe the semen off the outside of the pipette tip, taking care not to touch the opening of the tip. Ascertain that there are no air bubbles in the pipette tip. 5. Dispense the semen into the fixative and rinse the pipette tip by aspirating and expressing the fixative. Remove the pipette tip with the plunger fully pressed and vortex the dilution immediately to reduce the risk of formation of visible precipitates that would make assessments unreliable. 6. Mix the semen sample well again and prepare the replicate dilution following the steps above. 2.4.4.6 Assessment of sperm clumping. 2.4.4.6 Assessment of sperm clumping. There are 2 different types of sperm clumping that it is essential to assess separately. Sperm aggregates. The adherence either of a modal spermatozoa to each other or of modal spermatozoa to mucus strands, non-sperm cells or debris is defined as non-specific aggregation. Figure 2.1. Figure 2.1 Non-specific aggregation of spermatozoa and semen. Sperm agglutinates. Agglutination specifically refers to modal spermatozoa sticking to each other, head to head, tail to tail or in a mixed way. The motility is often vigorous, with a frantic shaking motion, but sometimes the spermatozoa are so agglutinated that their motion is limited. Any modal spermatozoa that stick to each other by their heads, tails or mid-pieces should be noted. Modal spermatozoa stuck to cells or debris or modal spermatozoa stuck to each other aggregation should not be scored as agglutination. The major type of agglutination, reflecting the degree and the site of attachment, should be recorded. 52. Figure 2.2. Figure 2.2 Schematic diagram of different extents of sperm agglutination. 24.5 Cellular elements other than spermatozoa. The ejaculate contains cells other than spermatozoa, some of which may be clinically relevant. These include epithelial cells from the genitourinary tract, as well as leukocytes and immature germ cells, the latter 2 collectively referred to as round cells.